Before we begin today's video, I would like to give a shout out to one of our newest subscribers, Atomic Shark Cola. Thank you for subscribing, and welcome to the family. And now on with today's video. Greetings, my dear viewers. It is I, Drayhon, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons Character Conversion. Viletine's Day Special. Honestly, this was not planned. I was originally going to have the Go Run this week from Pathfinder 2nd Edition. But I haven't finished that video yet, so I had to do my character conversion series again this week. And honestly, with the lore of this character, it was actually perfect timing. You see, Raven is the third female spellcaster of the League of Malevolence. And according to her lore, she was best friends with the Cleric of Valor's Call, Mercion. But they had a falling out after the events of Quest for the Heartstone, because Mercion hates Warduke. But Raven is in love with Warduke. So Mercion and Raven had a falling out because Mercion wanted to take down Warduke, but Raven wanted to protect Warduke from Mercion because she was in love with him. Even though Warduke is a selfish narcissist who only wants to do things for himself and okay, pause real quick. What? Why is this trope a thing? This is a very confusing stereotype. I mean, Raven, seriously, what is wrong with you? Warduke clearly does not love you and is a very narcissistic individual and will end up killing you someday. If he hasn't done so already, I'm pretty sure that's why you do not have a 5th edition stat block. So why in the world are you in love with him? Why do you have this I can fix him stereotype energy going on with you? Why is this stereotype even a thing? The guy does not love you. He openly threatens you. His outfit is not complete without fresh blood on it. Most likely from the last person he had in his basement. And you think you can fix him before you become his next victim? I don't understand this stereotype. The trope is weird, especially when you have plenty of other options out there for you. Now, this might be my neckbeard showing a bit, but why not go for the lovable dork stereotype instead of the I am going to kill you stereotype? The bad boy stereotype just doesn't work for you, clearly, so why not go for the person who openly compliments you every single day? Not the creepy compliment, but the nice compliment that actually makes you feel good for the day. Again, this is my neckbeard showing a little bit, but why go for the bad boy Warduke when you most likely have another member in the party who genuinely does like you and has a good heart and your best interests in mind? Okay, tangent over. Let's go ahead and get into the build. We can actually find Raven's stat block in the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons adventure, The Shady Dragon Inn. And again, okay, I can see why Raven is still with Warduke. I mean, her wisdom is abysmal in this adventure. At an 8. I hate to be that guy, and I'm going to try to not do this for the rest of the video, but this is clearly victim shaming here. But I can honestly see why Raven is the I can fix him stereotype. She is playing the low wisdom well. Alright, let's move on. We're trying to get away from that. And she has a warhammer as her primary weapon. We're going to try to get that to work since the class we are choosing does not give her access to a warhammer proficiency. So we're going to try to fix that, don't worry. But with the stats by the point by system, we do not get these exact stats. Her wisdom is going to be a little bit higher, so is her constitution. And the spells she has are not all cleric spells. There are a couple that don't come in the cleric spell list for 5th edition. So, bear with me while we try to figure out what her character is. So anyway, by the point by system, we have the following stats. 15 strength, 11 dexterity, 10 on constitution, 12 for intelligence, 10 at a wisdom, which is still bad for a cleric, and a 14 for her charisma. We do not have anything listed as Raven's race, so we are going to just assume that Raven is human. So we're going to go with the variant human, giving us a +1 to our strength and a +1 to our dexterity. Speed of 30 feet, size medium, languages of common and one of choice. The skill is going to be Arcana, and the feat, of course, is going to be Warcaster to go with our spell casting class. And another thing that was a little weird about Raven's stats sheet was her strength. Usually the strength of a cleric isn't this high, because they're mostly focused on their spell attacks and healing. But considering that Raven has a low wisdom, that high strength would actually come in handy for her, especially when her primary weapon, which is not depicted in any of her artwork, is a warhammer. So we're going to have to fit that into Raven's character. A high-strength cleric build. This could be interesting. Moving on to background. Since she is a part of the League of Malevolence, we are going with the Faction Agent, giving us proficiencies in Insight and Religion and 2 languages of choice. The feature is Safe Haven. Now for our class, we are a level 1 cleric, giving us access to a d8 hit die. Hit points at first level are going to be 8 plus our constitution modifier, which isn't very high. At higher levels, we are going to be getting 1d8 plus our constitution modifier per cleric level after the first. Proficiencies are in light armor, medium armor, shields, simple weapons. Saving throws are wisdom and charisma, with skills in medicine and persuasion. Skill The spell casting ability is Wisdom, and now we come across our new problem, the Divine Domain. Much like her old best friend Mercion, Raven does not have a listed deity that she follows. But unlike Mercion, we don't even have an idea of what domain she could follow. Mercion had two possible domains. Her canonical domain is the light domain, with her ideals being similar to the domain of beauty. So, with that in mind, here are some possible domains that I think would work for Raven. First off, of course, is the light domain. We see in her spell list that she has a couple of light-related spells. So it would make sense that, much like her old best friend Mercion, she would also be a light domain cleric. Again, much like Mercion, we could even go with the beauty domain, since she has a couple of spells that aren't normally a part of a cleric spell list, but are possible through the beauty domain. Or we could, in theory, go against Mercion's canonical domain and go with the darkness domain to counteract Mercion's light. And also, another option is to go with the lust domain, since she left Valor's Call, her friend, to be with Warduke, a man who does not reciprocate her love, and only uses her for her abilities, and has her get whatever he wants, and will only show gratitude after he gets what he wants. Again, trying to not shame the victim here. Anyway, the Darkness Domain and Lust Domain are the two subclasses that can be found in Cobalt Press. The Beauty Domain was actually listed over on Twitter, created as a way to explain how you can homebrew your own subclasses. Now, like I said, I wouldn't want to beat a dead horse here, and clearly Raven has gone through a lot in her time, especially with the fact that she has some unrequited love. But Lust Domain does seem to fit Raven's lore to a T, despite the fact that she would probably do better as either a light or darkness domain. But according to her stat sheet here, we do need to keep this in mind. And with the fact that the cleric spell list does not have access to the charm person spell or even the charm monster spell, we are going to need to go with either the beauty domain, much like we could have gone for Mercion, or the lust domain, since both of these domains give you free access to the charm person spell, and other spells that do with the charm condition. So for the rest of this video, we are going to be considering these two domains for Raven's subclass. Let's go ahead and continue. As a beauty domain cleric, Raven would get access to the domain spells of Charm Person and Heroism. with the features of Beauty's Refuge and Rebuke the Defiler. On the other hand, the Lust domain will give you access to the domain spells of Charm Person and Command, with Gifts of Lust giving you access to the cantrip Message, and also giving you skill proficiency in one of 3 skills. We're just going to go ahead and go with Performance. Moving on to level 2 Cleric. This is where we get our Channel Divinity, Turn Undead, and a Channel Divinity based on our domain. For Beauty domain, we get Beauty's Truce, and the Lust domain gets Lustful Distraction. Lustful Distraction is able to work similarly to Charm Person, but it has a set Wisdom saving throw of a DC 12. Considering that Raven has abysmal wisdom, this is actually a good thing. It's not too overpowered, but holy cow, Lustful Distraction is pretty good considering that Charm Person works on multiple saving throws. Saving throws that could be done over whenever the individual who is charmed takes damage. Lustful Distraction is a little different. And honestly, I kinda like this domain simply for the flavor, and we'll see more of that flavor going into these levels. Moving on to level 3, we get some more domain spells. The Beauty domain gets Enthrall and Suggestion, while the Lust domain gets Alter Self and Suggestion. We also get access to Harness Divine Power at this level, allowing us to regain one of our spell slots that we have expended as a bonus action. At 4th level Cleric, we are going to go ahead and increase our Strength score by 2 points. Level 5, more domain spells. For the Beauty domain, we get Beacon of Hope and Hypnotic Pattern. Lust domain gets the Hypnotic Pattern and Throes of Ecstasy, a spell found in the Kobold Press books. Of course, at 5th level, we also get access to Destroy Undead. At level 6 Cleric, we get access to Superior Refuge for Beauty domain and Lingering Seduction from the Lust domain. More domain spells at level 7 Cleric. The Beauty domain is going to get access to Charm a Monster and Compulsion, while the Lust domain gets access to Compulsion and Kobold Press's spell of Love Sick. Honestly, a funny spell. Next is Cleric level 8. Now, we need to go ahead and give Raven access to proficiency in the Warhammer, so we are going to give her the feat of Weapon Mastery, giving us a +1 in our Strength score, making it a 19. And we get weapon proficiency in 4 weapons. We're going to go ahead and go with the Warhammer, the Maul, the Morningstar, and the Whip. Next is level 8. Once again, we get access to some special features based on our domain. Beauty domain gets access to the Potent Cantrip, with the Lust domain getting access to Divine Strike. Moving on to level 9. The Beauty domain's domain spells are Dominate Person and Hold Monster, with the Lust domain giving us access to Dominate Person and Kiss of the Succubus. Honestly, another very good spell. It gives us an ability similar to the Succubus's Draining Kiss ability. Moving on to level 10 Cleric, we get access to Divine Intervention. Level 12 Cleric gets access to another ability score improvement. Go ahead and increase your dexterity by 2 points. Moving on to level 16. We're going to go ahead and not get the ability score improvement, but instead get a feat. There are two different options that I would like to consider. The first one being Crusher. Since we do have a Warhammer and a Mace as our two weapons, this means we are dealing bludgeoning damage with our melee strikes. With the Crusher feat, we get access to once per turn. When you hit a creature with an attack that deals bludgeoning damage, you can move it 5 feet to an unoccupied space, provided the target is no more than one size larger than you. And when you score a critical hit that deals bludgeoning damage to a creature, attack rolls against that creature are made with advantage until the start of your next turn. Say, critical hit a creature that dear old Senpai is fighting. That way Senpai can have an advantage on his next attack. Alternatively, instead of going with Crusher, since Raven is already so high in strength, she can be considered the stereotypical... what's the term they use? Whatever that meme is. I would recommend Tavern Brawler. This way, you can get access to proficiency in improvised weapons, your unarmed strikes will get a d4 for their damage, and when you hit a creature with an unarmed strike or an improvised weapon, you can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple that target. Be funny. Anyway, moving on to level 17 Cleric. With the Beauty domain, you get access to Soul of Beauty. And with the Lust domain, you get access to the feature Master of Seduction. If you would like to learn more about how to seduce someone in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, I do have a video all about that. Rules as written, and even a little bit of homebrew mixed in. Anywho, moving on to level 19 Cleric. Go ahead and increase your charisma by 2 points. And finally, as level 20 Cleric, we get a Divine Intervention improvement. Now, that might be the end of the build, but it is not the end of the video, as we still have to go over spells. And since we are a level 20 Cleric with a 0 Wisdom modifier, that means we only have access to 20 spells. So here are the spells that I have listed for you. The cantrips are going to be Light, Resistance, Spare the Dying, Thaumaturge, and Toll the Dead. For our first level spells, we have Cure Wounds, Protection from Evil and Good, and Purify Food and Drink. Second level, Hold Person, Locate Object, since we have to find different items, especially if we want Warduke to be happy. In one instance, we were actually looking for a crown of rulership that Warduke wanted. Another spell is Protection from Poison, and of course, you are not a cleric if you do not have access to Spiritual Weapon. At third level, we are going with Life Transference. If our precious Warduke is low on HP, we will give him some of our life essence to heal him. We also have Mass Healing Word, Protection from Energy, and of course Revivify, to bring Warduke back from the brink if he is ever struck down. Fourth level, Aura of Life and Locate Creature. Say Mercion is planning to assassinate Warduke. Well, we need to figure out where she is, or where any other person from Valor's Call is located, so we can stop them from hurting Senpai. I'm doing it again. I am making fun of Raven for being such a stupid idiot. Anyway, Dispel Evil and Good at 5th level, along with Greater Restoration and Mass Cure Wounds. 6th level, Heal. 7th level, Resurrection. 8th level, Sunburst. And 9th level, True Resurrection. And that is all the spells we have, and that is going to be all for today's video. I hope you all are having a fantastic Valentine's Day. That is all I have for you today. Hope you tune in next week for the Goron video. Until next time, this has been Drahon, and I am offline.